Hi, welcome back to Arcade Repair Tips video series. Today we're going to talk about installing artwork onto your game. There are two different types of methods that people use. One would be the dry method. In other words, just simply peeling off the sticker and sticking it right onto the game, trying to work the bubbles out. We like to use what's called the wet method, and we're going to be demonstrating that today. The very first thing that you want to do though before you install any type of artwork is your prep work, and make sure that your surface here is smooth and clean and everything. This game makes it pretty easy because it's been laminated, and that will also help you if you're going to do and want a real professional job. So I don't know what shape your cabinet is in, but you're going to want to make sure that you Bondo and fill in any holes, and that you sand it down, and that it's very smooth. You might even put a coat of primer paint over it if you're going to paint later, or go ahead and do your paint job first so that you have a really smooth side ready to go. You're just going to need a couple tools to do this. One thing is, when you're doing the wet method, you're going to need some glass cleaner, and commonly like some Windex or something like that, which you probably have or you can pick up cheaply. The next thing that you're going to need is a squeegee. We bought this one for like $2 at Dollar General, and this will work just fine for what we want to do. You don't want too big a squeegee, and all we're going to use it is to move it around, okay? And then we're also going to need a towel to just make sure we soak up the extras. We also have some cardboard down on the floor just so that we don't get, it'll get kind of wet, and we also to dry our hands and stuff if we need to. The only other thing that you would need would be a razor blade if there was some area that you need to cut or something, but we'll save that for another video. Today we're just simply going to install some side art on this Galaga, and we'll show you exactly how we're going to do it. First, let's talk a little bit about the side art. First of all, can't stress this enough, sometimes you get exactly what you pay for. So you want to make sure that it's good quality side art. This kind on the back, you can see that it's just thick, it's really good. It's got 3M tape on the front, and it's 3M brand. That's good. Good side art to have. So sometimes the cheapest artwork sometimes really hard to work with. Just to let you guys know, most of your reputable arcade repair dealers are going to carry some very good side art, and we'll post some links of some people that we prefer. But the first thing we got to do is we got to get started, and that's by we want to peel some of the backing off. Now this is a great job for two people, so I'm going to ask Jonathan to come around and help me. And what we're going to do first is you want to kind of judge about where you do it. Now if we do the dry method, once we stick this down, it's there. Here's the advantage of doing the wet method, is that we can put it on there and kind of move it around a little bit and get it to where we want to go. So first thing he's going to do is going to spray the area, and now we're going to spray the artwork. You may notice that we didn't peel it all off yet. We're just going to try to get the top. And so what we want to do is just kind of get it up here where you want it to go. If you wanted to pre-mark this, that'd be fine. I would say that, you know, you may have a preference. You might even look at some machines or something for original. We've done this plenty of times, so it's kind of easy for us to know. Then what you want to do is go ahead and squirt the rest of it. And all I'm going to do is take the squeegee, and I'm going to come right down. We'll peel the rest of that off. But because it's, see, I can easily move this around. I wanted you guys to see this. Because it's wet, I can move it. If I'm not straight, then I want to get it pretty straight. You can also use the back of your cabinet kind of as a straight edge. In other words, there should be the same length here as there is down here. We're pretty close, but see, I moved that just a little because it was wet. Now I want to take my squeegee and go right down the middle, and then I'll take and go to the outsides. Said, in my opinion, one of the best ways to do this, I just kind of going from the middle all the way to the outside. Because it was wet, I was able to move it just a little. Now as you can see, went right on there really quick. now we can take our towel, kind of wipe some of this excess, and also keep it from getting all over the place. Good way to clean the bottom of your game. But anyway, so you're just going to work it like that. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. One thing I like about this squeegee that's a little different than some, it's a little flexible, a little bendable, which really helps. I'm putting some pressure, not a lot. Again, smooth surface, good quality artwork make this so easy. If it's not a smooth surface, I'd be getting a lot of bumps and bubbles right now. And that's okay if you do. We'll talk about how to work around them soon. So anyway, just to let you guys see, real simple. And all the bubbles and stuff are worked out. Now this artwork, you also can feel it. I know you guys can't see it on camera, but you saw me, maybe I hit that one spot a couple times. I can feel it with the squeegee too. I feel where there's a bubble and so forth. Just going back over everything real careful. Okay, so again, we could have done this dry. Maybe we will do the other side like that just to show you the difference. But the reason I really like that is you can see we moved it quite a bit. And then when I noticed it wasn't hooked up here, again, if you're a real perfectionist, you could take a tape measure, make you some markings. Wouldn't be a bad idea to mark how. Now before we do the other side, that would be what I would do. I would do this side to kind of how you like. Then I would go the other side maybe and make some measurements on how far, so that it's going to be really hard when you get over there to match it with one side. And you don't want one side real close to the front, one in the middle, one in the back. I just try to go for the middle. Again, we've done this a lot of times, so it probably looked really easy, and it is. And so don't make a big deal out of it, but you do spend a lot of money on artwork, so I would highly recommend that you do the prep work first. The more prep work you do and the smoother your surface, the easier everything is going to go. Okay, now on this side we're going to do the dry method, which like we would like to stress is not our favorite way of doing this, but to help you guys, we'll show you the difference between the two. What we did first was we took and marked about where it was on the other side, and we made a couple of marks on here and down here. That way when we line it up, because once you stick it down this time, that's it. You're not going to get a second chance. You're not going to be able to move it. It's an advantage of doing it with the wet method. But either way, also, this time we removed both sides of the film, the front and the back, so that when we stick it up there, it's done. So anyway, we'll show you guys now. Again, great two-person job. John, if you'll line up the side there, and I will be lining up the top. It goes pretty close to right there. Again, we don't want it to touch. Can you see those lines? Because once this sticks, it's stuck. Pretty close, huh? And one of the important things is you got to hang it straight, because if you don't hang it straight, you'll get a lot of bubbles. Alright, and we're just going to kind of smooth it out by hand. If you do have some issues, you might, once we get it kind of where we want it, we'll line it up. The more you go right down the middle, the better. Just let it hang and let it fall. Not bad. We do have a few air bubbles here and there. Again, the squeegee does work for both methods though once you get it on here. Worked both ways. I would say almost as equally as good. Just gets my heart pounding a little bit when you're doing this method, because you can't hardly make a mistake at all. Also remember that your fingers are also really good just to use. Be careful when you do use the Windex method though, that you do have good artwork, because it will destroy cheap inkjet stuff. But anyway, we're just going to try to work these air bubbles, which we do have some, out. And we probably will show you here in a little bit. If you just can't get some out, there's a few tricks that we can do. Another thing with the wet method is that you get a little bit of that water will get up in there, and you can kind of work those bubbles out a little bit better, in my opinion. But we're just working these bubbles out. If you can't tell, there's a lot more bubbles this way than there is with the other way. You can hear them even, but that's okay. If it's good quality artwork, you're still able to work with it pretty good. Another thing too is give it time to dry. If it didn't come out very good, don't freak out too much. Let it dry. A lot of the air bubbles and stuff will dry in over a day or so. But if there's some big bubbles that just won't come out, we'll talk about this now. If you just had a bubble, let's just say that this bubble, let's say there was a bubble right here in his eye and it just won't come out. You can take a tiny razor blade and make a very thin cut. That will allow some air in there, and you can kind of work those bubbles out towards that cut. And I always do it in a black part or somewhere right there where you never would recognize that. But hopefully you just keep working that out, watch for wrinkles and stuff. But in the end result, you still get a decent product. So, well, we're going to wrap up this project today. As you can see, we've moved the cabinet back around. This was the wet side. We would like to disclaim that we should have removed that outside sticker, because once we started removing it, the artwork did try to peel up some, but because it was wet, we were able to move it right back and squeegee it back out, and as you can see, it still looks great. Actually, both sides look really good, so maybe it's just a personal preference on what you like to do. The main thing is that once you fix the game and you play the game, you want to make the game look original. So take some pride, get your games out there fixed and everything. If you have any questions, though, you can always call or email us or get in contact with us. We also want to thank those people who provide the artwork that we can still do these things to our games. So thank you again for watching Arcade Repair Tips video series. We're still in high def.